want you to picture something for a moment. Imagine the person you love most in this world, your brother, your sister, your child. Imagine them laughing, innocent, full of life. And then imagine watching that light go out, knowing you couldn't stop it. That's my reality. My name is Daniel, and what I'm about to tell you isn't just a story. It's the memory that haunts me every single night. It's about the month my family spent in a house we never should have set foot in. A house that took my little sister, Lily, from me forever. We were 5, Dad, Michael, Mom, Sarah, my older sister, Emily, me, and Lily, the youngest. She was only 6. She wasn't just my sister, she was my best friend. She had this laugh that could fill a room, the kind of laugh that made you forget your worries. But in that house, her laugh twisted into something I still hear in my nightmares, and I will never forgive myself for not protecting her. The move dad thought the house was a blessing. Money was tight, and when he found a massive property for dirt cheap, he jumped at it. Mom hated the idea, but he said it was the chance we needed. When we pulled up the first time, I remember feeling like it was watching us. It was tall, leaning, its windows black and hollow. Emily groaned about how creepy it looked, but Lily whispered, "That house looks sad." I wish we had listened, because she was right. It wasn't sad, it was starving. Inside, the air was damp, heavy. It smelled like mold and burnt wood. I felt like we were intruding, like we had walked into something's home uninvited. The floors moaned beneath our weight, and I swear every corner was darker than it should have been. That first night, none of us slept well. I heard scratching in the walls, a faint tapping that moved from one corner of my room to another. Mom said it was mice. Dad agreed too quickly. At first, the little things were easy to brush off. Drafts made doors move, windows rattled, lights flickered. But then Lily started talking to someone we couldn't see. At dinner, she looked at the corner and said, "The man doesn't like when we're loud." Dad tried to laugh it off. Mom told her not to make things up, but Lily wasn't joking. Later that night, I asked her who the man was. She leaned in close and whispered, "He said I'm his favorite." That night, I woke to footsteps in the hallway, slow, measured, dragging. I opened my door quickly, hoping to catch Dad checking on us. The hallway was empty, but the air felt thick, heavy, like someone had just slipped into the shadows before I looked. By the end of the week, Lily wasn't just talking to him, she was changing. She'd sit in her room staring at the wall, lips moving silently. Sometimes she giggled like someone told her a secret. Her drawing started to shift too. She drew stick figures, but one was always larger, darker, looming over the rest. Mom told Dad she didn't like the way Lily was acting. Dad got defensive, saying kids had imaginary friends. But I noticed he avoided Lily's room at night. One night I went to get a glass of water. I stopped halfway down the stairs when I saw Lily standing in the living room, alone, whispering to the corner. Her tiny voice said, "Okay, I'll tell him." When I asked her who she was talking to, she smiled faintly and said, "He doesn't like questions." I didn't go back to sleep that night. The humming began on the second week. At first it was soft, Lily humming to herself while playing, but it grew constant. She hummed while she drew, while she ate, even when she was supposed to be sleeping. The tune was unsettling. It wasn't random, but it wasn't familiar either. Low, droning, repetitive, and sometimes, if you really listened, there was something under it, a deeper hum, almost like a growl, perfectly in sync with her melody. Mom was pale from stress. Emily cried to me that she saw someone in her mirror again. "He was behind me," she said, "tall, thin, with no face." When she spun around, the room was empty. She started keeping her mirror covered with a blanket. Then came the scratches. One morning we found the word "mine" carved deep into the kitchen table. Dad claimed it was old vandalism, but the grooves were sharp, fresh. Mom scrubbed at it until her hands were raw, but it never faded. By now, Lily was almost gone. She responded less to us and more to the empty air. She tilted her head as if listening to someone we couldn't hear. When I tried to talk to her, she answered with strange phrases. "He says you'll understand soon," or "He doesn't like when you're in my room." That week I woke to Lily standing at the foot of my bed. Her eyes were open, but blank. In a whisper she said, "He's almost ready," then turned and walked away like nothing had happened. I wanted to scream, but I didn't, because part of me was afraid if I did, he would hear me. The third week shredded us. Mom begged Dad to leave every day. She said she felt something breathing on her neck at night. She said the house hated her. Dad lashed out, insisting it was all stress and imagination, but I saw the way he avoided being home alone. Even he was afraid. Emily wouldn't go to the bathroom alone. She begged me to sleep in her room. At night, we'd hear footsteps in the hall. They always stopped outside our door. The first time I worked up the courage to look, the hallway was empty, but the carpet fibers were pressed down, like someone had stood there for hours. Mom started keeping a Bible under her pillow. I heard her crying prayers into it. Dad buried himself in repairs, hammering and patching like he could fix the house's bones. But no matter what he fixed, something else broke. And Lily. Lily wasn't Lily. She barely spoke to us. She'd sit in her room drawing endless circles and horned faces. She screamed when Dad tried to stop her. Her voice sounded deeper, stronger. Once she looked at me and said flatly, "He doesn't like you, Daniel." I asked her who he was and she smiled faintly. "You'll see." One night I woke to see Lily standing outside Emily's door. She wasn't moving. She was just standing there, humming that awful tune. When I called her name, she didn't answer. She just turned her head slightly and whispered, "Go back to sleep." I did, because the way she said it made my skin crawl. It wasn't my sister's voice. By the last week, the house wasn't just haunted, it was alive. The air was icy. Shadows stretched and clung to walls, even with lights on. The silence between sounds felt heavy, like it was listening. We weren't a family anymore. Dad was empty, Mom broke down daily, Emily wanted to run, and Lily, she had slipped away. She hummed constantly, whispered constantly, drew symbols on her walls like they were instructions. She stopped eating. Her body was fragile, her skin pale, but her voice was not hers. It was deeper, older. The last night is carved into me. We woke to her laughter, not Lily's laugh, the guttural, mocking sound of something ancient. We ran to her room, but the door slammed shut. The air turned ice cold. Shadows twisted on the walls alive. Lily stood in the center, eyes black. In a voice too deep to belong to her, she said, "She's mine now." The lights went out. I remember Dad screaming, pounding at the walls, Mom clutching Lily, begging, Emily crying, nails digging into my arm, and Lily's humming, louder than ever, now joined by dozens of voices. The room shook, shadows stretched, and then silence. When the lights came back, Lily was gone. The police searched everywhere, the woods, the roads, the house. They said she wandered off. That's the official report. But we know better. Lily didn't wander. She was taken. We left immediately after, but we didn't leave whole. Dad never spoke of it. Mom fell apart piece by piece until she was a shadow herself. Emily rarely talks anymore. And me, I hear her. At night when the house is quiet, I hear her humming. I see her when I close my eyes, standing in the corner, small, pale, smiling faintly, waiting. The house didn't just take Lily, it broke us all, it hollowed us, and I'll never forgive myself. I was her brother. I should have protected her. I should have done something, but I didn't, and now she's gone.